So I want to say thank you to the people who who responded to my video the other night, because I was just so aggravated. Oh my gosh. Anyways, trying to be encouraging to me, and also just to remind people that, you know, I'm a small, unmonetized channel, and I do hold comments for review. So if you don't see your comments right away, I do review them. I review all comments, okay? I just protect people from spam and trolls or whatever on my channel. Anywho's, I have called out these attorneys that are covering the Karen Read trial. And I want people to know, who are not from America, how the law works in America under attorney ethics. We have what's called the Bar Association. And when attorneys do things, either in their personal life or using their license for things that are deceptive tactics, they can be held accountable to the Bar Association for such deceptive tactics, especially when it involves when they're using their license in any way that people pay them. So a lot of lawyers come onto YouTube, and it's like a side income, because, you know, they have their YouTube channel as a business, and they do become monetized, and they do make money. And so either they're just discussing things about the law, or giving advice about certain types of situations, like, you know, how to deal with police, and just as an example, or they're being a legal analyst, and they're giving their opinions, analyzing a legal case or a trial, and people are paying them. When they cross over into the realm of knowingly using deception, or just any kind of means that's deceptive to string people along, like, for example, apparently they don't have any trials to be preparing for, because they spend many hours on the internet doing live streams, getting money that way, while people are trusting them and their legal analysis, if you will, just like, oh, they're so great, they're so smart, they're lawyers, and they know what they're talking about. So when somebody presents to them something maybe that they missed, you know, or whatever, or it doesn't go along with what they had been presenting, and they keep presenting deception, then that crosses over into deceptive practices. And what I mean by that is, for example, this flipped image theory. Okay, so when somebody has presented, as Jackson did, as Turtle Boy did, as Sean McDonald did, as a lot of people on the internet before they ever saw the discovery and trial, they were spreading the rumor, the lies, that the taillight was broken after it was towed. Now, there was, in fact, evidence planted, in my opinion, after it was towed. Absolutely. It had no business being at this police station, period. And they didn't even move the car out of the police station. The police did not recuse themselves until after they handled the car. Okay? And that was wrong. Anywho's, the taillight, okay, the videos that the state gave to Jackson revealed, one, footprints at her taillight at 6:30 a.m. seen in a video that they had plenty of time to notice. 8:25 a.m. on day 7, there was a video that the dash cam showed clearly that taillight was missing in the driveway. The taillight was in fact intact at 5 a.m. That is a fact. And then at 6:30 a.m., there's mysterious footprints at her taillight and missing footage to show who made those footprints. And all of those videos were in the possession of the police because of the app that's in his phone. It was, in fact, a Ring camera. It was an app through John O'Keefe's phone, and the phone was retrieved by the police when they found his body. Therefore, they had possession of the videos. Karen did not have any ability to go into his phone and remove those videos. Okay, so at any rate, and even if it had been deleted, the FBI can retrieve, or they can find out when things were deleted from a phone. They had the phone. They could have found out if anything had been deleted from the phone. Anywho's. So then you have the 825 video. Shows clearly the taillight was missing. So in fact, the taillight was broken between the hours of 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. because she left at 5:30 to go with Jen, and she did not return to the house until much later in the day. She could not have made those footprints that was made after snow had fallen after she left at 5:30, and it showed a video that she went across the driveway and there was no footprints when she left. Therefore, the footprints was made by a mysterious person. Yet this video, which is inverted, was given to the defense, which was wrong because they didn't tell them it was inverted. But they had already started the rumor that the tail light had been broken after it was towed. They claimed that they saw the tail light on a tow truck and it was intact fully. And that was a lie. And there was a video showing Karen Reed and her father at that tail light before that car was towed. So they knew. They knew. Karen Reed knew and her father knew that that tail light was busted. And so they probably didn't realize when it was busted though. Because when they reviewed the video of her leaving at 5 a.m., it was in fact intact. And I've shown a great detailed long video comparing what it looks like when a tail light is actually broken with a tail light that has a cover. All the plastic is not on there. What it actually would look like compared to what they tried to say. Look, it was fully intact anyways. So here you have these lawyers who are just continuing with this lie that the taillight was broken at the Sally Port, okay? And so, you know, then you have Turtle Boy. Oh my gosh, this is what irks me. Okay, so I've always said that it's hard to find channels that are small, right? So I covered the story about the deputy chief who had ran over an old guy who was using a cane wearing a reflector's vest in another town using a Kenton city car. And I went to Turtle Boy's channel because people keep commenting in my videos that, oh my gosh, I've seen things that, you know, you're showing that no one else has shown. And I'm like, I'm not really taking that as a compliment. How I'm taking that is like surprise. Like, well, the stuff that I'm seeing is like pretty easy to see. Like, why aren't other people talking about it? Then I started getting curious as to why all these other channels that people are like, oh, you should go see this channel, you should go see this channel. And I have seen channels for the first time. I've never heard of Turtle Boy, never heard of the Young Jerks, never heard of Melanie Lee Little. A lot of these who are covering this case, I've never heard of any of them, right? And then there's the DUI guy. I haven't heard of any of these channels. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, oh, you should go watch this channel, you know. And then they over and over, people tell me that I should contact the attorney with the things that I found. And I'm just like, okay, can we talk about why these other channels haven't talked about the same things that I'm providing? That people are like, oh, wow, you know, wow, I didn't catch that. Wow, you know, I haven't seen this or heard this anywhere else. So I got to thinking, what's wrong? Like, I spend very little time catching these things. Like, why aren't they catching these things? Then I see this pattern of all these channels are pushing the same thing. And this Turtle Boy, okay, who is like, all the state of Massachusetts is trying to act like there's no people who are against the state but for followers of Turtle Boy. And I'm like, okay, what about the millions who watch Dateline and Nightline? And there's a Boston website who covered things that he hadn't even, the Stephen Scanlon. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit that he learned about things, but I went to his channel when that deputy chief, and I thought, well, let's make sure that he's heard about that so he can share that with his followers. And he hadn't. He had not covered that. And I mention it, and, you know, they just ignore, like, things that they missed. Like, okay, well, don't be prideful. I'm like, I'm not trying to, like, diss you or anything because you didn't catch it. I'm just trying to bring something to your attention. Someone brings something to my attention that I missed. I'm like, oh, thank you. You know? And so today it's like, oh yeah, Turtle Boy caught about that story about that chief police running over that old guy. Well, he's always first to catch everything. And I'm like, why do you do that? I'm sure that there's probably a dozen or more other small channels like me who caught the same thing and probably talked about it before I did or same day that I did. But I just haven't seen them, you know. But it's just like these people who are getting rich off of sharing these lies that irk me. So when I try to share with these lawyers, and they either ignore people who try to bring something to them, or then they're rude, and they'll have their moderator slow-mo them because they don't want their viewers to see that they missed something. And I was like, dude, I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm just trying to share something with you. They're rude. It's not just me. They're doing this to other people. That's what made me mad. Like, okay, now y'all are trying to prevent your viewers to see stuff that goes against what you've been presenting, and you're trying to keep spilling these lies and ignoring this stuff. Like, oh my gosh, I found 3 parts where it was totally clipped. So when I'm watching the same video where I saw this guy pushing this broom, comes around over here, if you saw my video, I'll put a link in the description, and he just poof becomes another dude like in a quarter second. None of them caught that, and I'm just trying to present that to them, and they act like they don't see it in comments. But when I say, you know what, I'm done. I can't do slow people. I literally said that. I've never said anything like that to people before. I'm just like, I was so tired of them being rude to people who are just trying to share something with them. And so then when I said that, they instantly caught that. I'm like, yeah, I know you see my comments. Don't play. You know, and so all these people giving money, and so then there's these, and I'll tell you the type of person I am, and I'm not like trying to judge people who don't believe the way that I do. So I know a lot of people like true crime books, and there was one time that I did read true crime books, but then I was convicted in the spirit that it's wrong. Because when authors take somebody else's tragedy and they make literally millions of dollars, and they don't even give money to the victim who suffered that tragedy, they're gross people. They're like fungus in the earth, and they gross me out. And I will never buy their books. Okay, and I just feel that that's morally and spiritually wrong. And so I'm so thankful in the Madeleine McCann case that the family fought some author, got yanked off the books, off the shelves, got a book yanked off the shelves before it was released. I'm like, you go. I was so happy to see that, you know. And it's like, okay, so now you have these lawyers who come onto YouTube, and you know how YouTube works. Okay, they want to keep people in their stream, and when they want to keep them there, I mean, apparently they don't have any trials to prepare for because they're spending hours in a stream instead of, like, I guess they don't have cases to prepare for. But then they want to string people along, and so if somebody's trying to share something with them that they missed, and then they're, like, blockading them, I'm like, oh, no, that's deceptive practices. That's where the Bar Association does not allow lawyers to use means of deception to obtain money in any way whatsoever. And I am calling them all out. So if you're somebody who, like me, has caught something, and you've gone to any of these channels, and you try to present something to them, and they block you or they ignore you because what they're presenting isn't what you're sharing with them. Like when you catch something, there's videos of, like one point there's like 2 guys here, and poof, he disappears. And then when the guy brings the broom around, and then they're all huddled over here at this tail light, he instantly, and I broke it down and I slowed it down, and like he just instantly turns into another person. So it's clipped. Now sometimes if the camera is Wi-Fi, there might be like inconsistency with the stream that's feeding the camera. That can happen. It doesn't necessarily mean that they've clipped the video, but it happened too many times. And when they, and so this state has a duty that if there is something missing because of they have to present that to them, that hey, there's periods missing, because obviously if that DA looked at these videos with the amount of time that he prepared for looking through all this stuff, he had to see that was clipped over there, that there was missing footage there, right? And so this defense attorney had the duty to have caught all that. So why are these lawyers analyzing this case? Why are they not mentioning that? Why are they not catching that? Why, and why are they acting the way they are towards somebody who brings it up to them, and it's just creepy, And so Turtle Boy when I've always said people need to rise up and stand up against tyranny, and if they don't, they're part of the problem. I've always said that, and so, but when stuff that he does is he goes in and he goes into a city hearing or one of the public meeting, and he's standing there flipping the bird. I'm just like, okay, that's not professionalism. And then there's the some accusation about he found out who the tag number was of I guess the DA or witnesses or whatever to link connections. Okay, for him to know to connect that car, he had to have known who that license plate belonged to, unless he has obvious footage of the guy coming out or getting out of the car, so he knows it was his car. But the accusation was that he conspired with somebody at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles to get information on who that car belonged to. Which, why did they charge that person who worked for that bureau then? Which to me just sounds like a bogus charge. But I'm just saying that, there's things that he did that was not appropriate when people are out in the front court steps. I believe that was rigged. I think all of that was just rigged to discredit, in a bigger sense, like there locally, people are like all hyped up, and it's getting, you think, oh wow, this is bringing more media attention because we're out here, we're protesting. But in reality, they're breaking the law because the statute says you cannot picket witnesses within a certain amount of feet while a trial's going on. And the police were right there on the steps letting them break that statute. So to me, all that was a setup from the get-up. So that in time, when he gets charged, then all of a sudden the state, to do damage control, because Dateline, Nightline, and bigger media sources have covered what Stephen Scanlon revealed. He's the one that started the third person theory and told them which direction to go. He did that. They had to do damage control. And the FBI, all these people keep saying, oh, don't worry, people, the FBI is going to get them. No, they're not. The FBI is not going to prosecute these people. You mark my word. You hear it today, there will be no charges. Okay? Not unless people rise up and demand the FBI charge them. I'm telling you now. You go and thank you to the person who encouraged me to watch Trial 4 documentary. The Sean Ellis story about Boston police. They couldn't figure out who killed that cop because there were so many people who were victims of corruption. They admitted there was corrupt cops. Yet not one person was ever, to this day, prosecuted. Okay? And that's state police and that local Boston police. I mean, it's just corruption that the feds have a duty to prosecute, and they don't. They know they've done this investigation so they can act like they did their duty, and then they concluded that it wasn't consistent the car killed him. Okay? Ooh, that's great. Except for, the problem is, they have Google search data. They've got the health fit data that shows that he went into that house, went up and down stairs. Those are types of evidence that feds and state both have prosecuted people with. So they have the evidence they need to arrest these and say, well, it's not possible that these taillight pieces ended up there because it's not possible that she dropped them off and ran them over and that he never made it in the house. That's not possible because the Fit Health app data puts him in the house. They have enough, is my point. And they're not going to prosecute. They're not. And Lowley will go into closing, and he will say, well, yeah, they say that it was a conspiracy, but the FBI investigated, and you don't see any of us being charged now, do you? Watch. Okay? And mark my words. This is Sunday. You watch tomorrow. You come back to my channel. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tomorrow, this motion that Lowley, who's already been denied, mid-trial, is now, this judge is allowing him to interrupt a trial to hear a motion that's already been ruled on, okay, to limit expert witnesses. And she's already reduced the defense time to present to less than half of the state. And you don't hear Turtle Boy or Young Jerks or Melanie Little or DUI guy or Bungle, whatever all these people the experts covering this case, you don't hear them talking about what that judge did. Oh, it's always enough reasonable doubt. There is enough reasonable doubt, okay? The juries are fickle. And when they're going to be limited on expert witnesses, and I think she's going to grant it partially. I think she's going to do something to limit, okay, I do. I think she's going to give a partial win to Lowley tomorrow. So we'll see, okay? But I'm just telling you, people, when you hear these experts that are in these live streams, and they're talking about things like, okay, for example, Jackson, when he said to Yuri, so what was the distance between the right rear taillight that this guy right here is standing? And he said it 3 times. Lowley objected because he kept saying the same thing. It's repetitive. But he did it because he wanted Yuri to say, agree with him. Well, I don't know, but he said that was the rear right taillight after he was told it's inverted. That's using deception. You know it's inverted. The reason I didn't believe it was inverted because there's this police, it says police right here on this car hood, and it was inverted. And so from my understanding is that there's a lot of cop cars that have it inverted, and I couldn't tell if it was the front or the back. So somebody pointed out, like, no, you know, you need to go look at the videos. So I did go look at the videos, and I was wrong, because it is in fact inverted. It is in fact, I've looked at all the other pictures, I looked at all the other videos, and this is what made me mad at Jackson, because, okay, so I spent maybe approximately 5 minutes at the most to go look at all these different videos and photos, and that's the same videos and photos that he already had weeks ago that he should have known it was inverted. Okay, so yes, it was, he should have told him it was inverted, but it won't really, I don't think that'll be any kind of reversible error, because he had all the videos. He should have figured it out. Any good attorney would have gone through all that evidence, and I don't want to hear no excuses for Jackson. He failed her. And where's the test on that paint on her car to match it to John's? Okay, his whiteness didn't rub off of him to put paint on a car. You know what I'm saying? So what caused the paint scratches that they want to, like, use is, like, that's evidence against her. So stupid. But anyways, it's just when these lawyers are, like, not humble enough or just being rude to people, like, if people that watch my videos, right, and then they go and try to share this with these lawyers, what stuff that I've shared, and they're being rude to them, I'm like, oh, they're shady. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it for what it is.